Peabo Bryson and Roberta Flack, great singers, created magic. As the world mourns Roberta Flack, disturbing truths about her life emerge. Was her ex-husband the true villain? After she's gone, what does Peabo Bryson say? You won't believe his revelation. Stay tuned, this changes everything. Musicians grieve Roberta Flack's death, a woman with a soul-touching voice and heartbreaking lyrics. Flack was no mere singer, she told tales. A shocking revelation has emerged as tributes stream in. Her longtime duet partner and confidant Peabo Bryson has now spoken out about their relationship. Fans speculated about their connection for years. Was it musical chemistry or something else? With Roberta gone, Peabo's comments are even more powerful. His disclosure regarding Roberta's ex-husband is stunning. Could he have been her real villain? What part did he play in her private struggles? This film will disclose Peabo Bryson's most revealing words regarding Roberta Flack, their relationship, and her hidden fights, which many never knew about. Trust me, what you're about to hear will change everything. Peabo Bryson and Roberta Flack sang some of the greatest R&B and soul duets for decades. Tonight, I Celebrate My Love became a love anthem, making people wonder if their relationship was more than professional. They sang together, had stage chemistry, and put their hearts into every performance. It felt too real to be fake. Despite appearances, their relationship was more complicated. Peabo Bryson, famous for his silky voice and beautiful ballads, called Roberta one of the most brilliant and impactful musicians he has performed with. Their partnership went beyond music. Respect, shared struggles, and implicit understanding were involved. Peabo hardly addressed Roberta's lifelong shadow until now. According to individuals close to the late performer, her marriage was stressful and emotionally draining. While her private life was kept confidential, her closest friends whispered about her struggles. As her confidant, Peabo witnessed her career's turning points. Peabo made a rare and passionate statement about Roberta's, alluding to her personal troubles in a recent interview. He said she was strong, but had deep wounds from past relationships. He didn't mention names, but many believe he meant Roberta's ex-husband, jazz bassist Steve Novosel. Little was said about why they divorced. Behind the scenes, Roberta felt stress, emotional strain, and an unspoken burden long after the relationship ended. Peabo Bryson would have seen this marriage shape Roberta's cautious approach to love and trust, according to insiders. Was Roberta's ex-husband the true villain? Did her failed marriage make her emotionally guarded, preventing her from finding happiness with Peabo? More importantly, did Peabo and Roberta ever have a secret relationship? Things change unexpectedly here. Peabo's next comments were unexpected. As Peabo Bryson contemplated his relationship with Roberta Flack, his words became more gloomy. He described her as a woman who carried a heavy burden, as an artist under public scrutiny, and as a person who had suffered anguish the world never understood. Roberta was a strong, independent woman who was respected in a male-dominated field for years. Behind that grace and assurance was a wounded individual scarred by betrayals, broken relationships, and fame pressures. Peabo implied that her emotional turmoil arose from a former relationship, perhaps her marriage to Steve Novosel. Peabo never accused Novosel of misconduct, but he said Roberta's past love experiences made her cautious to open up again. Peabo said she loved sincerely but guarded her heart. Was Peabo and Roberta ever in love? It was obvious they clicked. The emotion in their vocals made viewers think they were watching two people in love every time they performed. Actually, things were considerably more convoluted. Peabo admitted that while their friendship was deep and full of adoration, there were always boundaries, possibly due to Roberta's prior scars. Peabo hinted that their relationship could have been more if circumstances had been different. In moments of weakness, Roberta would tell him about her concerns, uncertainties, and emotional agony that she never showed others. He said she never trusted love again despite her accomplishments. Roberta's later years are even more painful. Roberta became increasingly reclusive as her health failed. The news that she had ALS, a horrible disease that slowly robbed her of her voice, horrified the globe. Roberta took comfort in their music in her later years, often recalling their performances, Peabo said. Peabo was most affected by her regret over the love she never had. Peabo said losing Roberta was hardest because she had regrets about love, trust, and things she could never escape. Perhaps her ex-husband was the villain, but one thing is certain. Roberta Flack lived a life of wonderful music and mute sadness. One thing was clear as Peabo shivered when talking about her. He loved Roberta Flack, romantically or not. After she died, he bears the words he never said. The most surprising finding? What Peabo revealed next about their final conversation left everyone dumbfounded. As Peabo Bryson opened up, his voice softened, bearing the weight of a man who had lost something priceless. His final discussion with Roberta Flack was revealed for the first time. What she said in the final seconds shattered him. Roberta's health declined in the weeks before her death. Her voice, which had enthralled millions, was now barely above a whisper due to ALS. Even at her weakest moments, she was Peabo's constant. She was resilient, contemplative, and lyrical. Peabo remembered when he last spoke to her. He contacted her on a calm evening, unsure if she could respond. She said something that will stay with him forever. "I can hear the music, Peabo, but not sing it." Those statements from a woman whose life was music were heartbreaking. It was about her identity, passion, and purpose, not simply her voice. She now faced the sad reality that her music, at least in this world, was fading. Peabo felt he lacked the words to respond. What do you say to someone who has given everything but feels empty? He simply told her the truth. The fact that she was more than a voice, performer, or icon. A legacy. Music is in your spirit and voice, Roberta. You'll keep singing as long as people listen. Over the phone, there was a long quiet. Finally, Roberta laughed softly, one of her few remaining. "You always know what to say," she muttered. "The wildest part?" Roberta's parting words to Peabo were a surprise. Roberta breathed deeply before the call ended. She whispered something that stopped Peabo's heart. "I should have loved you differently." He was slammed by their statements. Many wondered about their relationship for years. Were they simply friends? Was there ever more? Had circumstances, or perhaps fear, prevented them from embracing the love everyone else saw? Peabo never pushed Roberta past her limits. However, in her closing moments, she expressed bittersweet regret. Her words, "You'll always be my song, Peabo," stopped him from asking what she meant. Suddenly the call terminated. Peabo subsequently acknowledged that the remarks haunted him, not painfully, but by making him doubt everything. Would things have been different? What if Roberta had completely accepted love and seen him as more than a musician? What if they'd tried? But without Roberta, such questions would remain unsolved. This is even more startling. Peabo's next revelation concerning Roberta's personal troubles stunned everyone. Peabo Bryson always saw Roberta Flack as strong. She was a global icon whose voice touched the soul. Behind the popularity and timeless love melodies came a woman with a secret burden. Peabo disclosed something shocking to her fans as she reflected on her life. Roberta fought more than ALS in her final years. She fought decades of unseen fights. What made it worse? She suffered the deepest scars from former loved ones, not a disease. Peabo suggested her ex-husband caused one of the wounds. The media rarely covered Roberta Flack's marriage to jazz bassist Steve Novosel. The event was brief, scarcely generating headlines, and finished fast. Peabo says that the relationship's scars never healed. Peabo said she rarely mentioned him. Her voice was usually sorrowful when she did. What happened between Roberta and Steve was rumored for years. Some said their love burned too quickly. Others thought she had outgrown him, rising too swiftly and leaving him in the shadows. Peabo said the truth was darker. That marriage reportedly caused Roberta considerable suffering, despite her popularity and fortune. Her loved ones knew she was hurt, but she never gave details. Peabo remembered hinting at betrayal, broken vows, and an unrecognizable love. Peabo said, "She told me I gave him everything, yet I was left empty." What made this information more shocking? Roberta never remarried. She had romances following her divorce, but never married again. Some thought she chose work over love. But Peabo now argued that maybe her first marriage had left her so traumatized that she never wanted to experience that type of anguish again. It gets worse here. Peabo's revelations concerning Roberta's final days stunned everyone. Peabo Bryson's emotional depiction of Roberta Flack's final days showed his close attachment to her. Roberta was the iconic singer whose songs like "The First Time I Saw Your Face" and "Killing Me" softly enthralled the globe. Behind the scenes, she fought personal and emotional conflicts. Finally, a severe physical struggle prevented her from singing, her passion. Roberta was diagnosed with ALS. often known as Lou Gehrig's disease, a brutal condition that slowly robs victims of their capacity to move, speak, and breathe. This was heartbreaking for a woman whose voice defined a period. It seemed like a slow, terrible extinction of her spirit. Since he had kept in touch with Roberta, Peabo saw how the sickness had affected her. He remembered how she would struggle to communicate and get frustrated when her voice failed. Peabo said she wished to sing, his voice husky with emotion. She believed even after physicians said it was impossible. She hummed. The words were mouthed, not ready to stop listening. Losing her singing voice was like losing part of herself for a lady who had spent her life creating and performing. Peabo said Roberta often broke down in private because she dreaded being forgotten, not death. "Do you believe people will remember me as I was? Will people only remember the voiceless woman?" Peabo remembered. She struggled with more than her health in her closing hours. Was Roberta regretful until death? Despite her accomplishments, Roberta spent her latter years thinking on her defining relationships. Peabo said Roberta sometimes mentioned earlier mistakes and choices she regretted. Steve Novosel was regularly mentioned. She had moved on from their marriage, but her heart still hurt. Peabo suggested Roberta never recovered from that chapter. She seemed to carry the hurt, betrayal, and whatever transpired behind closed doors till the end. Peabo stated she never admitted it. I guess she always wondered if things could have been different. As her days shortened and her strength waned, Roberta found peace in her music, which had never left her. She apparently died surrounded by her career-defining tunes. Here's the heartbreaking part. Everyone cried when Peabo disclosed their last discussion. You won't believe what Roberta told him days before her death. As Roberta Flack's health weakened, her circle shrank. His once vibrant stage presence had been relegated to quiet moments with a few close friends. Peabo Bryson was one of the few she trusted to reveal her darkest feelings. Peabo said Roberta's caretaker called him in her final days. Was urgent. Roberta wanted to talk. Having prepared for a concert, Peabo promptly freed his schedule. He knew time was running out, so Roberta had to say something significant. Peabo found Roberta in her dimly lit room with gold records on the wall, faded photos of former performances, and a gentle humming. The music that defined her was with her even in her weakest state. Roberta then whispered a revelation that Peabo would never forget. I should have fought harder. Peabo leaned in as Roberta strained to speak. She was talking about her health, relationships, profession, and battles she had abandoned. She admitted she should have defended herself. I sometimes let people steal my energy, love, and music. Peabo heard the pain in her voice. In her final moments, this woman felt that she had given too much after decades of giving. Next came the words that hit Peabo hardest. No one understood me like you. Roberta peered into Peabo's eyes with an earnestness that chilled him. It went beyond their musical connection. She said you were the only one who never tried to change me. I never told you how much I appreciated your acceptance of me, warts and all. You don't have to tell anything now, Roberta, Peabo said, holding her weak hand and fighting tears. I always knew. The moment gone, Peabo broke. Roberta made one last plea while Peabo sat by her, something that would torment him after she died. She requested his singing. Tonight, she requested our song, Celebrate My Love. Peabo admitted he couldn't finish. After trying, I broke down. That moment made him understand how much Roberta mattered to him, not only as a duet partner, friend, or constant in his life. A few days later, she was gone. This is even sadder. Roberta's parting comments were strengthened by Peabo's discovery of her background. What was she hiding? Why did she never mention it till the end? After Roberta Flack's death, Peabo Bryson was overwhelmed with emotions. Grief, regret, and a nagging feeling of unspokenness. Roberta's final words kept playing in his head. I should have fought more. What was she talking about? As he reached out to individuals who knew Roberta best, he discovered a decades-old secret, a hidden struggle and treachery that nearly crushed her spirit, even Peabo was ignorant of. Roberta's captor, who nearly succeeded, had always been independent. She created her career on her own terms, defying genre and style. She was fighting someone who didn't want her to be free behind the scenes. Her former lover wanted to control her every move, according to her friends. Roberta never named him, but others suspected he was one of her prior romantic and business associates. Whispers about how he dictated her contracts, bullied her into projects, and took credit for part of her work were always there. Since she was professional, Roberta never mentioned it. Until now. A letter Peabo shouldn't see. A mutual acquaintance who had been sorting Roberta's stuff called Peabo a week after her funeral. An old handwritten note to Peabo was among them. It was never sent. Peabo opened it and read it anxiously. It's possible that I'll never have the confidence to tell Peabo this in person, but if you're reading this, I couldn't. You always considered me powerful, but I let someone take a part of me I never got back. He received my voice. Besides music, I can fight for myself. That's my biggest regret. Peabo's pulse raced as he proceeded. You always called me the strongest woman you know. I wish I had been as powerful as you thought. I should have fought harder for myself, music, and happiness. This is why I always looked at you this way. I saw in you what I hoped I had in myself. Peabo wept. He had never seen Roberta like this. Vulnerable, regretful, and carrying deep previous hurts. The shocking part is this. Peabo later discovered that this man who stole so much from Roberta was still alive, living as if nothing happened. Peabo decided then. He stopped being silent. What would he do next? Would Roberta's past be revealed? Peabo Bryson stared at the undeliverable letter in silence. His heart was heavy with Roberta Flack's comments. She fought this suffering silently for decades, while the world only saw her grace, brilliance, and fortitude. After learning the reality, he couldn't ignore it. Peabo admired Roberta as a musical companion and a lady who had affected his creativity and understanding of love, sorrow, and resilience for years. But now he learned that those who wanted to control them could suppress even the strongest voices. Worst part? He who broke her spirit left unhurt, his reputation intact. It was about to change. Peabo chose. Roberta's truth survived her. He spoke up in the weeks that followed. Not just her legacy, but her own challenges. He wasn't naming names yet. He stressed Roberta's achievement and sadness. His goal was to show that even legends may manipulate, break, and regret. At a tribute event for Roberta, Peabo expressed the words he wished he had said to her while she was alive. I need to know if Roberta can hear me. You're stronger than you think, and your tale continues. Not yet. The audience applauded. This wasn't simply about commemorating a friend for Peabo. Justice meant acknowledging Roberta's sorrow, that her true voice was heard. The best songs aren't always the ones we sing. These are the truths we won't abandon. And this, in his farewell duet with Roberta Flack, Peabo Bryson ensured her narrative will never be forgotten, will never